These citizens believe their government has a duty to finally assure the energy security of this country, and they are right.
Arresting these people who are dying in a seriously ill. What would you do about that?
Well, first of all, you'll have to show me a case where people are going in and arresting people are dead and dying. Arresting people are dead and dying. Arresting people are dead, arresting people are dead and dying. You'll have to document that for me because I never heard of such a case, nor does anyone that I know ever heard of such a case. I never heard of such a case, nor does anyone that I know ever heard of such a case. So it must be a very well-kept secret. Because we don't arrest people who are dead and dying. We don't arrest people who are dead and dying. We don't arrest people who are dead. We don't arrest people who are dead. We don't arrest people who are dead and dying. So I would be glad to, and if they are. Well, again, you'll have to document that for me. That's not the kind of society we live in, and I would strongly disapprove of it. Ma'am, you may be one of the unique cases in America that only medical marijuana can relieve pain for. Every medical expert I know of, including the AMA, says that they're much more effective and much more better treatment for pain than medical marijuana. So I would glad to continue this debate. Every town hall meeting I have, someone shows up and advocates for medical marijuana, and by the way, in all due respect, alleges that we are arresting the dead and dying. We are arresting the dead and dying. We are arresting the dead and dying. And I still have not seen any evidence of that. And I'll be glad to accept that evidence from you. And if they are arresting dying people, then I would be glad to do everything in my power to stop it. I never heard of such a case, nor does anyone that I know ever heard of such a case. But I still would not support medical marijuana because I don't think that the preponderance of medical opinion in America agrees with your assertion that it's the most effective way of treating pain. And I'd be glad to discuss it with you and receive information that you have. Yes, sir.
I already answered the question.
No,
I did.
You didn't answer any question.
I did.
Well, oh, there's that.
Yeah, right?
Excuse me, Mayor. I need to talk to you.
Just gonna walk away?
All right. How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah.
What it means self-defense?
Well, if someone, it's more than attacks me. If someone attacks me violently, I can protect myself from getting hurt.
Currently, there are 12 states that have laws protecting seriously ill patients using marijuana. You have said, and in those states, an independent study shows no increase in marijuana abuse or trafficking in these states because of that law. You have said that if elected, you would continue having federal agents raid and arrest the sick and dying for using marijuana.
I haven't said that.
Which has killed no one. But you have lobbied for OxyContin, which has killed more than 800 Americans in recent years. How can you take such a hypocritical position?
What is the best move to silence a woman?
I don't know that you can silence a woman.
How can you take such a hypocritical position?
Thank you, but I haven't said that. First of all, I haven't lobbied for anything. I've not been a lobbyist. And second, I've never said that I'm going to raid anybody. The question that I was asked was, would I be in favor of legalizing marijuana for the purpose of medical treatment? I've checked with the FDA.
Easy now. Checking.
All right. I've checked with the FDA, and the FDA are experts on this, not me. And the FDA takes the position that we shouldn't do that. That there are alternatives that are better than marijuana for purposes of pain. I'm not a doctor.
Long ago, when these ancient Grecian temples were new, hemp was already old in the service of mankind. For thousands of years even then. This plant had been grown for cordage and coarse cloth in China and elsewhere in the East.
The FDA takes the position that anything marijuana can accomplish, there are any number of pain and other medications that they can accomplish the same thing. All right? So I can only be guided by the FDA. And that's what the FDA is. All right?
For centuries prior to about 1850, all the ships that sailed the western seas were rigged with hempen rope and sails. For the sailor, no less than the hangman, hemp was indispensable.
All right? I understand that, but all I can do is tell you what the FDA says. I'm not a doctor. And the FDA...
The Conestoga wagons and Ferris schooners of pioneer days were covered with hempen canvas. Indeed, the very word canvas comes from the Arabic word for hemp.
And the reality is that the FDA says that there are more than enough alternatives to marijuana that it would be not advisable to make marijuana legal. If the FDA took a different position, maybe I would then rethink it.
In the old days, braking was done by hand, one of the hardest jobs known to man. Now the power breaker makes quick work of it.
In 1935, Henry Ford's desire to unite industry and agriculture would lead to the formation of the Farm Commercial Council. The Commercial model would use the country's farmers to supply the industrial needs of the 20th century. The expanded markets would bolster the dismal state of affairs on American farms and ease the emerging problems of petrochemical pollution. Ford and the council would find support in the like-minded genius of Thomas Edison and plant geneticists George Washington Carver and Luther Burbank. In 1938, advances in hemp decortication equipment prompted Popular Mechanics magazine to call hemp the billion-dollar crop with 25,000 uses. The development sprouted a new kind of hemp industry in Minnesota, one poised to exploit the cellulose-rich herds for use in the plastics industry. In 1916, the Department of Agriculture published Bulletin 404, written by Leicester Dewey and plant and paper chemist Jason Merrill. Printed on hemp paper, the bulletin warned that forests cannot withstand the demands and praised the paper potential of hemp. Henry Ford had a vision of growing automobiles from the soil. At the company's River Rouge plant, researchers used annual crops to develop biodegradable car parts that in 1941 unveiled a car whose plastic body was made entirely from hemp, wheat straw, and sisal. The bioplastic withstood blows 10 times as great as steel without denting, and its reduced weight promised better fuel efficiency.
But then in the latter years of the Depression, they banned it. It was banned by the government of North America. It came at just when the Depression was right at its worst, in this area, about 1937. The law was passed that it was illegal to have hemp seed. It was illegal to have it, and it was illegal to grow it. It was actually illegal to have hemp seed in your possession. It was stopped being used by Mackenzie King. And I would listen to the old timers, my Uncle Bill and my grandpa and Fred Wagner and those people talking. Like they really felt that they had been hard done by.
The hemp industry was in decline when the United States entered World War II. With the nation's supply of manila hemp and jute curtailed by the Japanese invasion of the Philippines, the government turned to the farmers for help. The war hemp industries built 42 mills throughout the Midwest. Hemp production rose dramatically as the nation's farmers produced 60 million pounds of fiber for the country's supply of cordage.